Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
The views and opinions expressed on Trudging Together are solely those of the host, co-host, and our guests. They do not necessarily reflect the views of any organization, fellowship, or other entity, and definitely not your boss, your neighbor, or that one guy in your home group. The content of this program is not intended to replace medical, psychological, or professional advice. If you're looking for that, please seek guidance from qualified professionals who spent way too many years in school. What you'll hear here is based on lived experience, recovery journeys, and the occasional bad coffee-fueled joke. Trudging Together is not affiliated with any 12-step fellowship. We are simply people sharing our stories and walking this path together, one day at a time. Thank you for joining us, and remember, recovery is serious business, but that doesn't mean we can't laugh along the way.
Sober Sunday. Football. Broncos are back this week. I know many of you do not care, so that is all I will say. Well, I'm going to say one more thing. Go Broncos. There we go. All right. Heck, most of my listeners, or a lot of my listeners, don't even consider, what we consider football. We call it soccer. Okay. Now, let's remember that football, English football, European football was around before American football. All right. So kind of stole that one. And actually, football makes more sense with soccer than it does football. Because you use your feet. You're not allowed to use your hands in soccer. Football. There we go. Oh, feeling a little unpopular today. That's all right. So I hope you're all having a good day. I hope you all had a good Thanksgiving for my people on this side of the pond. Yeah. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. Throws the days off. That was Sunday yesterday. It felt like a Sunday yesterday. It did. So, yeah. All right. Well, should we still do jokes? Okay, we're going to do jokes, but we're going to do different jokes this time. All right. And whether you're listening to the live or listening to a rewatch, please let me know if these suck or not. Okay, I need a little bit of your help. Let me know if these suck or not. The reason is because I want to get a little bit funnier with what I do. And years ago, I was kind of ripped out. I'm somebody who I'm good at, like if you laugh a certain way, I could probably do it. If I practice it enough, I can do a lot of voices, things like that. So I'm not a great lead singer, but I'm a great backup singer. I'm great at mocking people, but not mocking them into not that kind of mocking. Okay. All right. So Jeff Foxworthy has, if you're a redneck, right? Well, you're an alcoholic. You might be, you might be a redneck is what it came down to, right? So you might be an alcoholic. Right? Now, the first one is my joke. The rest ChatGPT came up with. They're all right, but I'm gonna steal it from other people's stories. All right. I'll just do some of my own. All right. Let's get things set up. I gotta get the okay. And then we gotta do the lead. And the lead is, you know what time it is. Do you know what time it is? It is time for Dion's Daily Funnies. All right. If you wake up in your own urine, you might be an alcoholic. Took them a second, but they got it. If you wake up in somebody else's bathtub, you just might be an alcoholic. If the intake person at Detox knows you by first name, you just might be an alcoholic. I made these ones up. I'm going to give you one that ChatGPT gave us. They, um, here's a decent one. If you've ever woken up with a medical bracelet and zero recollection, you might be an alcoholic. All right. Tell me if those were decent. Should I keep on with them? My delivery wasn't the best because I have to with my mood. It's Sunday, man, and I'm just here. I don't. God's going to have to do most of the work today because, yeah. But it's his day off too, right? Isn't it supposed to be God's day off too? I don't know. I don't know how all that works, right? But anyway, today we're talking about how quitting alcohol isn't the finish line. It is the starting gate. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. I'm your host. I'm wearing my Elway jersey. Finally, this jersey's really hot, so I have to wait till it gets cold before I can wear it. I might switch to my Miller. All right, if you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching a live or the rewatch. Some of you probably noticed that I've set up my drum set back behind me. I'm going to get back to doing some drumming. Drumming for recovery. Maybe people will pay me to drum for recovery. It's not a bad idea. Actually, drumming for drum lessons. I am. I'm going to take lessons. I've been drumming for a while, but there are some things I don't know, and I can't seem to figure them out. So I need some help. I don't need a bunch of help, but I've never taken a drum lesson in my life. I went and downloaded it, learned a 4-beat, and just went from there. And I can pull off a lot of stuff, but other drummers know. They know that I'm not doing it right. So the goal is to practice enough and maybe be, I'd like to be in an 80s, 90s band and go do some shows. I don't want to be it's hard to be the center of attention when you're the drummer. But in this case, I don't want to be the center of attention. I want all the eyes to be on the lead singer. I don't want them watching me because I ain't playing it right. All right. So we're gonna do a reading out of here where I'm not getting. Nobody has commented yet, so I'm gonna check to make sure that. Okay, I would just double check and make sure that nobody had commented. But hello to whomever is here. I have a feeling I know who it is, but then when I guess, I am usually wrong. They have not checked their messages, so probably not them. All right. So this started off with this reading today. And this was originally going to be all the things that you shouldn't do in recovery, but that list was so long. It was so long that I was like, no. Let's cover the right ways. All right. But this one is a good reading. Hazelden literature, a day at a time. I don't think they put these out anymore. They're probably like, they're antiquated, right? All right. November 30th, reflection for the day. If you're a negative thinker and are not yet ready to do about face, here are some guidelines that can keep you miserable for just as long as you wish to remain so. That's why I really like this. It's all, I'm going to start this by slapping you in the face. That's what it says. Hi, Amber. Hi, girl. Hi. Yeah, you guys thought I couldn't do an effeminate sound, huh? Or could even do a woman from England if me like. See, fuck off. Fuck off. Amber S., are you really going to wear that jersey another 5 hours? No. I will let you know it's already getting a little too hot and I'm about to take it off. Not only that, but I have dishes to do. So underneath this jersey is my shirt that I don't care gets messed up. Right? So some guidelines if you wish to remain miserable. All right. First, don't go to meetings of the program. No, you're not going to want that. Nope. Yeah, that would be a huge mistake. Going to meetings and meeting with other people with that are going through what you're going through. Yeah, that's not going to be. It's not going to work in that situation for misery, right? Man, I wonder how the clips are going to come out on this one. It's probably going to confuse the fuck out of people, especially discussion groups. Yeah, don't go to those. Don't go to the ones where people allow you to speak of what's on your mind and what you're going through. You're not going to want that. That would make you feel better. That make you feel like you are a part of, and we don't want that, do we? Yeah. Okay. If somehow you find yourself at a meeting, keep your mouth shut, your hands in your pockets, and close your mind. So maybe you're being forced to. Maybe that stupid judge made you go to a AA meeting. A judge, stupid judge, trying to make your life better. Who the fuck do they think they are? Who do they think they are? Trying to make your life better, go to that meeting. So maybe you had a nudge from a judge and you got to go, man. Yeah, just sit on your hands. Tell people you aren't willing. Maybe color, look at your phone most of the time. Get your shit signed. Get out of there, man. You don't need that stuff. Hey, like this one, Amber, because the other person listening left, I think. Don't try to solve any of your problems. Never laugh at yourself. And don't trust the other people in the program. You're not going to want any of this. All right. Above all, under no conditions should you try to live in the now. That would be probably the biggest mistake out of all of these. You know, you don't want to be happy, and happiness only happens right now. So therefore, you do not want to live in the now. I asked my wife to turn up the heat, but man, she cranked it. Nobody ever does anything the way I wish they would do them. Ever. If we're gonna do this, let's do it right, right? Am I aware that negative thinking means taking myself deadly serious at all times, leaving no time for laughter and for living? What we're talking about in this case is Rule 62. I was taught don't take yourself so darn seriously. Take the program seriously. Right? Yeah. And sometimes I do get a little too, I would have to say sometimes I do get a little too serious. Why so serious? Why so serious? Right. Right there. Right there. Who am I pointing at? Pointing at the Joker. For those of you that can have camera anyway, I'm pointing at the picture of my Joker, of the Joker. Right? Why? Even the Joker understood that you had. In fact, out of everybody, the Joker probably lives in the now better than most other people. I'm just making shit up now, aren't I? Hey, if everybody else on the internet and in recovery can make shit up, I can too. This is so fun being the opposite of what I usually am. I'm enjoying this, maybe a little too much. Today I pray if I'm feeling negative, may I check myself in the mirror. That is a group. May I check myself in the mirror. That is the group for any symptoms of a closed mind, tight lips, forced smile, set jaw, straight ahead glance, and no glimmer of humor. God grant me the ability to laugh at myself often. For I need that laughter to cope with everyday commotion of living. Today I'll remember to laugh at myself. All right. And what a great thing to utilize. All right. Laughing at yourself. I do silly shit all day long. I laugh at a lot of stuff that I do because I find myself pretty funny. I have a dark sense of humor though, but I don't really. I'll do it with my friends, like like Amber, right? On Thursday, I sent you something that I would never say here, ever. I could do My the thing is there's also this part of me that likes being very risque, where I like to do things where you just don't expect that I'm going to do them. It keeps your attention on me because I like being the center of attention a lot. Unless I'm playing drums, of course. Right. All right. Let's get to what we're actually talking about today. All right. Where'd it go? Oh my gosh. It's gonna, it's gonna drive me crazy. Something's gonna drive me crazy. Okay. And so people are asking in our WhatsApp group for the password. They're like, "Do we have an email for grassroots?" I'm like, "Yeah, I made it months ago." And I listed it with the password. Well, what's the password? Scroll up. Scroll. Scroll, motherfucker. Scroll, motherfucker. Scroll. All right? Quit doubling my work. All right. Man, somebody woke up in a mood. I'm going to tell you I'm going to tell you exactly why I'm acting this way. Because I woke up wanting to fucking burn the place down. Not my house, but just, ugh. I had some very, very bad nightmares. Very, very, very bad nightmares. I haven't had that bad of a nightmare in a while. And I don't want my day to be shitty. The first thing that I did, open my mouth, right? So yesterday, um, Papa came over, and because that's what he likes to go by, even though I'm not related to him at all, I still call him Papa because respect, right? He's actually my my wife's ex-husband's dad. He passed earlier this year, but we've always been about family. It doesn't matter what's going on. We get together, we do things, right? Well, there are a couple towels that are down on the bottom of the towel rack, and that is the cat's bed. That is Sawyer's bed. Now he's cranky this morning too, and they use those towels, and that was my focus this morning. Towels. I'm like, you guys realize you used a bed. You used the cat's bed to do that. She's like, the would you rather we use the good towels? Is what she pretty much said. And I'm like, that's a great point. I'm being cranky, aren't I? I'm being cranky, aren't I? Just slightly. And so I'm like, and I hadn't even prayed yet. And you could tell. You could tell. And I don't want to be in that mood for the day. I don't want those things to allow to control me. Right? Now I'm not doing much today, but I'm certainly going to listen to God. And a friend reaches out, Amber says, "Hey, you going to a noon meeting?" I'm like, "That's a good idea. What a good idea." Yes, I'm going to go to a noon meeting. Just because God put it in my purview. I gotta listen. And the lead, he had 52 years of sobriety. Oh my God, his story floored me. It was to hear some of the things that okay. Now his sponsor was sponsored by Bill W. And he came from England. He came from Kent, right? That's how Old Kent started here. It is an English-based meeting, being England, Europe, right? Britain, to be exact. And he talked about, he's like, I came to America and I heard men talking about their emotions, something I'd never heard before. That was pretty good. He was put in boarding school because of the war. But to hear his life, and then I think, gosh, fuck, I had it easy. Man, I had it fucking easy. That was at 5 years old. This man went through so much. And the fact that he had 52 years of sobriety, it was just so fucking beautiful, man. It was so, I wanted to reach through and give that man a hug. The heat is still on. I feel like I'm in a Glenn Fry video. The heat is on. It's on the streets. I'm making shit up because I'm trying to figure out whether I want to read from the big book or utilize Chat GPT, right? So, quitting drinking is the first step. right? There's a step before the steps. We call it step 0. This is where somebody has what we call the psychic change. Sometimes they come with a spiritual experience. Sometimes they do not. Sometimes the spiritual experiences creates the psychic change. These things can all mix and match, and there is no wrong, really wrong way. The point is psychic mind. Change, change. I changed my mind. I don't want to drink anymore. I'm trying to quit, but I can't. I would sit there and promise that I was quitting drinking while putting on my shoes to go to the liquor store. Right. So, but let's remember that alcohol was a symptom of our disease, a symptom. Okay. Because alcohol is not a mental illness, it is a liquid. It was a symptom of my disease. Hi, Heather. Good to see you. Happy day to you. All right. The problem resides in my head. Mental illness. I have a mental illness that not only destroys the mental portion, but the physical, emotional, and most definitely the spiritual. Because our answer is spiritual, our solution is spiritual. And a lot of people do not like that. It scares them. I get it. All right. The man that was speaking earlier, he said, I do not believe in God in the sense that everybody believes in God. Trees, animals, helping people. These are my higher power. And it works for him. It's beautiful. Because, you know, I do kind of believe in the Christian kind of God. It's what, I kind of do. But I'm allowed to mix and match like everybody else also. I do not believe that because I have made some mistakes in my life that I am going to hell. I do not believe that. I don't believe that because I drink caffeine. Besides, caffeine wasn't around when the Bible was written. I don't think. I can't say that I've never read the Bible. So I actually cannot make that statement, can I? I do not, right? So what not to do after you quit drinking? Now we're going to flip, right? Now we're going to flip a little bit. All right. This was a fun topic. Thank you, Hazelden. Don't isolate. Don't rely on willpower. Don't avoid fellowship. Don't expect life to change by itself. And don't coast. It was one of the things the speaker was talking about earlier. He said that his recovery didn't really start until he moved to the United States and found emotional sobriety. He said that was when it was working, that it was working. But he said all I was doing was going to meetings and helping the next person. Do you know what we call that? We call it two-stepping. And he called himself out on it too. I thought it was so cool. I really wanted that guy to be on the podcast, but yeah, it'd be rude for me to. I don't even know the dude. It wasn't at that time. Asking him wasn't appropriate, right? So those are the things that we want to avoid. Oh, so what's the best way to put this? You got to have skin in the game. You have to have skin in the game. That means effort. It means sacrifice. These are all bad words to an alcoholic. I'll name some more: discipline, accountability, responsibility, the truth. These are all words that alcoholics do not like because we see them in a different way than other people see them. Right? You know, when I was a kid, the consequences never, to me, they never really matched. Until I got a little bit older and was in group homes. But even then, I still kind of did whatever the fuck I wanted to. I would walk if it would. There was one time, There was one girl, she was really interested in me. I think I was, 16. Name was Mitch. And I just up and left and went to her house, hung out for 3, 4 days, and then would turn myself back in. You wanna know what happened to me? Nothing. Nothing. There were no consequences. I went back to a Rapo shelter. Oh, no. Rapo shelter didn't even have screens on the windows. There's a guy who lived next door, his name was Scott, and I would literally his house was that window was about 7 feet away from my window, and I'd hand him cash, he'd hand me his weed. I was literally in the group home buying marijuana all the time. Yeah. I got away with a lot of stuff. Okay. So, where in the hell was I going with that? Why did a Rapo shelter even come up? I think it's about time to start writing a book. I really do, about what I went through as a kid. I was talking about being younger but anyway, it requires action, right? Emotional sobriety, honest service, fellowship, and a higher power. Okay. And the work does not really begin until the alcohol is out of the system. No alcoholic can no alcoholic can do this while having alcohol in their system. Oh, well, it's been 3 days. Okay, great. It's been enough hours that alcohol should be out of my system, you silly alcoholic. So, but these aren't things that's general knowledge. First of all, you were born with it is one of the indicators of alcoholism. You were born with a higher level of what word am I trying to think of? I've lost the word. Tolerance. You had a higher tolerance to alcohol. Alcoholics already have a higher tolerance to things like Novocaine. Novocaine only works so far with me. Pain pills, things like that, they only go so far with me. They do not affect me like other people. It's weird, but anyway, so my tolerance, if you could, if you were 15, 16 and you were drinking people under the table, okay, that were much older than you, that is a sign of alcoholism. But what do we alcoholics do? We brag. We brag and then we show off, making it even worse, right? Hold on, token shops calling. Thank you for your order. Want to let you know that it was shipped. Okay. Yay. We got to send in a chip to somebody in our meeting that had 9 years of sobriety. So cool. Right? The real work begins when the drinking ends. You got to change your thinking. We got to clean up our wreckage. Got to break the patterns. And then you build something new. Not only do you build something new, but you build something new that is mostly for you. And then what happens is you start getting all these dividends in your life, and that starts to overflow, and then you have so much that you have to give it away, or it's going to go to waste. And we don't want that either, right? So when you're building something new, it's not just for you. In fact, what you're actually doing is you are planting a tree in which you will never sit in the shade. Now, you got to sit in the shade of the trees of the people that came before you. It's like a grove, and we just keep adding on. That way, everybody has a nice place in the shade to sit. Maybe they're apple trees, so we have plenty to eat. Maybe it's not what we want, but we got it. Right? Maybe the next person puts up a cherry tree. Right? See how that continues on. Right now, I am sitting in the shade of a tree that was planted of somebody that I don't even know. And you are that too. All right. So now we're getting into the doctor's opinion a little bit. We're only at 29 minutes. That ain't shit for me. All right. But it's funny because I have these 45-minute videos that like a few people like. But what people really like is my 1-minute clips. I don't get it. I don't understand. Are we Do we have such a short attention span? I know that I do, but it ain't that short, right? I think it's systematic. Anyway, yeah, okay. So, men and women drink essentially because they like the effect produced by alcohol. That's why I drank. I certainly didn't drink for the taste. Nah, are you kidding? The taste of alcohol is horrid. It's an acquired taste, all right. Acquired taste means it's gonna taste shitty the first time. But I didn't do like your frou-frou drinks. So I'm just talking about like I don't have time to wait for a frou-frou drink. Just put it in a shot glass. Give me a beer so I have a chaser. I'm good. All right. The sensation is so elusive that while they admit it is injurious, they cannot, after a time, differentiate the true from the false. There's our main problem. When I'm drinking, I can't see the truth. I blocked myself off. I can't see it. So I don't know what the truth is. So what do I do? And a lot of it is just made up shit so I can continue drinking. And then I believe it because alcohol does a lot of weird things. All right. To them, their life seems the only normal one. They are restless, irritable, and discontented unless they can experience the sense and ease and comfort which comes at once by taking a few drinks. Drinks they see others taking with impunity. What does impunity mean? No consequences. No consequences is what that means. There's the other indicator. Our consequences tend to be worse than other people's, than non alcoholics. Okay. But what they don't do is drink a bunch. They have like two, maybe, and then they go home. You want to know how much a normal person drinks? Little to none. Little to none. Oh, really? Yeah, really. All right. After they succumb to the desire again, as so many do, and the phenomenon of craving develops, they pass through the well-known stages of a spree. Emerging remorseful with a firm resolution not to drink again. This is repeated over and over. And unless this person can experience an entire psychic change, there is very little hope of his recovery. Now, we covered that a little bit. Okay. It just means that you changed your mind. It doesn't need to be huge. It doesn't need to be overwhelming. It doesn't need to be a burning bush. In fact, I see a lot of people taking the program and unsimplifying it. We got to keep this stuff simple and we got to keep it straightforward. If it isn't, let me tell you what it means when somebody is not keeping it simple. They want to talk over your head. It's a pride thing. I know more than you do. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you something. I don't know more than you do, depending on the topic. It really depends on the topic. There's something you probably talk me under the table on. I'll try. All right. But even before I go run in my mouth, you know what I do? I look for guidance. I look for guidance. So, on the other hand, and strange as this may seem to those who do not understand, once a psychic change has occurred, the very same person who seemed doomed, who had so many problems he despaired of ever solving them, suddenly finds himself able to control his desire for alcohol. The only effort necessary being that required to follow a few simple rules. Few simple rules. Because Doesn't matter what it is. We alcoholics like to make things bigger than what they actually are. Kind of like, I don't know, getting the login to the Gmail. So, all right. It's kind of pissing me off. So, what do you need it for? That's kind of what I'm wondering. Why do they need it? What do you need in there for? So, all right, they can have it, but it's supposed to be used for verifications, and these people don't do verifications. I do them. They don't host, and the host does the verifications. So I don't see why I should give things out of something that you don't need to utilize, and then everybody having it. It only should be the only people that should have it are the people utilizing it. Otherwise, it becomes a clusterfuck. People will go in, they'll change shit around. People fucking click on stuff all the time. That's why I set up this. It is so easy. I made it so easy to host, right? Because a lot of places where you go host, you have to go through and turn off this and turn off this. And it's all set up. I got it all set up. So when you log in, you don't even have to do any of that. You just got to sit there, smile, introduce yourself, and post a few things. That is hosting. That is like the most you're gonna do as a host at Grassroots. It's actually easier than cheering. All right. Thank you everybody for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do. Peace out and keep on trudging.